Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm your host, the voice of reason, Dave Dunaway. It's Thursday, April 9th, 2026, and you're listening to The Sports Voice. Has a new era of Pirate baseball begun? There's definitely a lot of excitement swirling around PNC Park, especially for a team right now that's 7-5. But a lot has changed in one sign of a contract. Yes, the Pittsburgh Pirates have officially inked Connor Griffin, the still number one prospect in Major League Baseball, to a 9-year, $140 million contract. And what does that mean for the future of this team? Well, in the grand scope, it means you sign one player for 9 years, and you might not even have him there all 9 of those years. But in the end, it's something that they've never done. Now, don't get super excited, Pirate fans. The entire rest of the league does stuff like this all the time. But the Pirates, finally getting into the 21st century, have now given everyone in the area something to talk about and something to get excited about. And of course, we know the harsh reality coming in probably a year or two, and that will be the end of Paul Skeens wearing black and gold. But we knew that all along. The surprise in this is that their number one hitting prospect is signed, sealed, and delivered for the foreseeable future. As I said last week, in the end, the Pirates did the right thing. It doesn't matter that they only called him up because they signed him. Business-wise, that makes sense. You would bury him as long as you can if you didn't sign him, because you know you have 7 years of protection, maybe less, if you bring him up and he wins Rookie of the Year like Paul Skeens did. And in addition, they're going to end up with another draft pick in next year's draft, the special pick that you get for actually calling your players up on time instead of doing what the Pirates normally do. How has this translated in the last week? Well, so, I guess. You look at the opening weekend with the Baltimore Orioles, and definitely a lot to get excited about there. Maybe not quite as exciting with the San Diego Padres, but I think even looking at yesterday afternoon, there are definitely high points. Mitch Keller pitched 6 scoreless innings. We're still trying to figure out why after 75 pitches he was pulled out of the game. But in the end, there are definitely signs of hope with this team. I'm still fully convinced that Bubba Chandler is going to get a long-term deal before it's all said and done this season. He didn't look the greatest a couple of days ago. We realize this. But in the end, if you're not going to keep Paul Skeens, then Bubba Chandler has to be the arc of that pitching staff for the foreseeable future. Of course, until your next guy, Seth Hernandez, gets called up from the minor leagues. And looking at the fact that he right now is in Bradenton and is 19 years old, that can be a while until we see that happen. But in the end, when you look at some of what the Pittsburgh Pirates did this offseason, we've got Ryan O'Hearn, who looks like a complete hitter. There might be some misses in there as well. Marcell Ozuna, in his 2 for 31 performance thus far, definitely looks like a huge miss, to the point where people are talking about maybe they should have kept Andrew McCutchen around, because even he could do better than that. Brandon Lau came out of the gates on fire and has cooled down quite a bit since. And of course, Connor Griffin doesn't have to look back over his shoulder and see Jared Triolo, because he's been placed on the injured list. I'm sure a huge sigh of relief coming from Griffin on that one. But Nick Gonzalez has hit. Horowitz looks like he's starting to come around a little bit. Reynolds has showed a little power, and Ono Cruz has hit the ball. Still can't field, but has hit the ball. Parts of the bullpen look shaky. Parts of the bullpen look unhittable. In the end, it translates to 7-5 after the first 12 games. And really, if you were trying to predict it at this point, would you have thought the Pirates would be over 500 after playing the Mets and the Orioles and the Reds and the Padres? So I'll give them that. A tough series approaching for a team that to this point has underachieved. The Pirates are in Chicago this weekend, starting tomorrow at 2:20 to play the Chicago Cubs. This is a division rival. This is a team that has money. This is a team that spends money. If the Pirates are trying to show that they are ready to compete, that they are serious, that this roster that they assembled can actually hang in there with the better teams, not just in the league or the National League, but in their division, this is a great opportunity to start to show it and to convince the fans by proving it. Can they hang with the best? Well, that remains to be seen. Connor Griffin hasn't exactly torn the cover off the ball, but I will say you have to give him time. You can't expect a 19-year-old to just come in and go blazing through Major League pitching. I know that he's done it at every level of minor league baseball that he's been in. That's why people were so excited when he got called up. But give it time. It will work out. I'm not saying he's the next Roberto Clemente, but he's the best player on that team right now, and I think will be in the however many years they keep him around. He could be a legit star in Major League Baseball. Now it's just about development. And at least there's a competent manager there this year to try and aid in that development. Can only imagine what would have happened had he actually come up last year. In addition to this, the Pittsburgh Penguins are in action tonight against the New Jersey Devils. Still not officially sewing up that playoff berth, but it looks more and more likely as every day passes. The real question now is if the Penguins have made enough distance that they're going to finish second, who is the team in the Metro that's going to finish third? And what implications could that have on the Penguins season? Is it going to be the Islanders who fired head coach Patrick Waugh over the weekend? Is it going to be Columbus, a young upstart team that nobody expected to be where they are? Or is it going to be maybe what everyone is most afraid of? Is it going to be Philadelphia? I said last week, don't sleep on them. They're jumping up out of nowhere. They're going to be a team to be reckoned with. And they're full of mostly younger players in the middle of a rebuild. The Penguins are clear-cut better than the Philadelphia Flyers. But can you imagine what will happen if they lose to them in a playoff series? It's not so much of what we expect is going to happen. It's what we fear could happen. It's not as bad if you lose to Columbus or you lose to the Islanders. But you just can't lose to Philadelphia if you play hockey in Pittsburgh. We're still trying to figure out. I looked all week. I kept searching in Google, where is the NFL draft being held this year? Where is this thing going to happen? And unfortunately, it's kind of coming up empty. I'm assuming, based on the fact that they're moving trees and homeless people like crazy on the North Shore, that it's probably going to be happening in Pittsburgh. But I've not really gotten any confirmation. I guess at some point I need to turn on the local news, because I'm sure they'll tell me 15,000 times in a half hour where the draft is going to be. But some interesting news coming from the draft, and I absolutely love this. First overall pick, I'm not even saying projected. We know who it's going to be. They'll wait 15 minutes to tell you, but we know who it's going to be. Fernando Mendoza will not be in attendance at the draft. And quite honestly, not only do I love it, I don't think any of these guys should be in attendance at the draft, because all that serves for is a wasting of time and making something that should take an hour last 5 or 6 by the time it's done. I can only imagine, what is Mel Kiper going to talk about for 15 minutes when there's no awkward moments from Mendoza and Goodell trying to shake hands, or a 10-minute interview that's being conducted asking him how happy he is to be a Las Vegas Raider? What are they going to do? Are they just going to show highlights from Indiana last year and tell you about how integral he was to winning that national championship, and that's why he's the first pick in the draft? Absolute nonsense. Nick has said it time and time again. They've done nothing but turn an hour-long thing into a TV show that goes on forever. I can only imagine how drunk are people going to be in that 15 minutes when they don't have somebody to look at coming out of the curtain. And don't be shocked if there are others that don't show up either. I think it's a great move. I think it's a move everyone should make. And think about it. This guy's taking a pay cut to come to the NFL. Think about what he could have made if he'd got another year of college. To me, just one more piece, and it'll really, this is just the tip of the iceberg. The iceberg is going to be, not this year, but in the foreseeable future, when whoever the number one pick is supposed to be decides to not come out and stay in college, and then goes on TV and says, well, I'm making more money playing for Texas. Why would I go and get drafted by the worst team in football?
Right.
That's coming. It's only a matter of time. It is coming. Also, we got word that the Department of Justice is investigating the NFL over its multiple lucrative TV deals, most of them with streaming services is what they're looking at, basically saying that they've made the product unaffordable for the average fan because you've got to buy streaming services for all of these different places if you want to watch NFL games. Remember when you could turn on Channel 2 and Channel 10 and see literally everything? Oh. Now you've got to go through at least 5 cable channels plus Netflix, Peacock, Amazon Prime, you name it, it's probably on there, just to try to figure out where your favorite team is playing. And I know a lot of you are going to say, I always get to see my favorite team because my favorite team is the team closest to my house and it's always on there. But not everybody likes the team closest to their house. How do they get to watch their favorite team play? We've got a national championship, all bought and paid for. Yes, the Michigan Wolverines. A lot of criticism going to how much money they spent in the NIL. I don't know why you would criticize that. That's the way college sports are right now. And apparently it was well worth it because they are the men's national champion. A lot of controversy with the women's championship, well, at least in the Final Four game between South Carolina and UConn. Gino Auriemma looking not all so classy in defeat as they lose to South Carolina, who in turn ends up losing to UCLA. I figured that wasn't part of your WNBA roundup because it's college sports.
Right, right.
But we'll talk a little bit about the national championships. And it has begun. The Masters, a tradition unlike any other, has started in Augusta today. No Tiger, no Phil. And to me, that sounds like something I got to watch. That's must-see TV right there if I don't have to watch every agonizing shot of those two has-beens, as one probably would have carded about an 80 and the other probably a 90 before it was all said and done. The leaderboard, some familiar names, especially if you watch the Masters, because a lot of these guys that have been around for a long time, like Freddie Couples, they're up there on the leaderboard. Couples right now 2 under through 14. Not the leader. The leaders are in at 5 under. Both are finished. Sam Burns and defending champ Rory McIlroy both shoot 67. There are a handful of people under par. Must be a little tougher there than normal. Only 22 guys right now that are currently under par. But we'll keep you updated on what's happening at Augusta with the Masters. As far as I know, Scottie Scheffler has not been arrested yet. So that's good news. Tiger Woods was a few weeks ago. He's not even in the country right now. Where's he? Sweden or somewhere, trying to stay out of the spotlight. Hopefully he's staying out of the driver's seat as well. But yeah, there's a lot. There's always a lot when we're on here doing this show. And this week, no different from any other. We've got 2 local teams right now who are in season. The Penguins at the tail end of their season. The Pirates just at the beginning of theirs. And quite honestly, Nick, if I look at the first couple of weeks, you tell me, hey, the Pirates are going to be 7-5. If you tell me that before the season starts without knowing that Connor Griffin's going to make the team, and also without knowing what's going to happen in the first inning of their season, I'm thinking, well, this is pretty good. This is kind of where you want to be. Yeah. And I think you look at what they ran into with San Diego, and honestly, Mitch Keller had them pretty much under control yesterday until the bullpen came in. Justin Lawrence and Urquidy just blew it up, and some mistakes made in the field. Of course, you expect that from this team. But the big news is the signing of Connor Griffin. We knew there was no way he was getting called up if there wasn't going to be an announcement that he was signed. I'm surprised it took a week for them to come out with this announcement. But 9 years, $140 million. This is what was reported before we went on air last Thursday. This is what he gets. And I know people are complaining a little bit because of the stats. There's not a whole lot really happening there with him so far. He's batting 167, 3 for 18. He's got some strikeouts, and people are like, I don't know. He might not be Willie Mays. He might not be Derek Jeter. He might not be Roberto Clemente. First of all, it's unfair to judge him after that few at-bats that he's had. Secondly, I don't think anybody's well, maybe there are people out there. I'm sure the local hacks are expecting it. I'm not expecting him to be one of the best baseball players of all time. I'm expecting him to be the best baseball player on this team. And from what I've seen, it looks like he's going to be there. That contract set aside for a young player that you feel is going to be the person that carries the rest of the team on their shoulders for the time that they're here. He's not going to carry Major League Baseball on his shoulders, but I think he can carry the city of Pittsburgh there. So far, so good. I like what I see in the field. I like what I see on the bases. I like what I see. This kid, I believe, is going to be the real deal. And even if he is, and he's the best they've got in their system, so why not get him signed and get him up there? Because you're not going to go out and sign a legitimate free agent. They proved that to you in the offseason when they didn't bring in any of the most coveted guys out there. Although the O'Hearn deal's looking pretty good. They got him at a really good price, and he's been their best player thus far this year. So 350 average, 14 hits. You take it. You still got O'Neal Cruz, who's a huge wild card, at least hitting. We know exactly what we get from him in the field. But 7-5, better than I thought they would be right now. Right. I got nothing to complain about.
No, absolutely, and it's so early, and you're right, they're going on the road this weekend to Wrigley. You'd like to win that series, but yeah, you won more than you lost, which is the standard around these parts, and it's so early in Griffin's development, Dave. I mean, he's not even 20 years old, but I like what I see. I mean, the first game at PNC this year comes up, gets the RBI double in the gap, and the glove looks good, but again, it's so early, but I'm glad he got paid. And we shall see. Things you like, things you don't like. I like them signing him, though. You got to pay somebody, right?
Yeah, there's definitely some things I like. One of the things I like, and not that I wish injury on anybody.
No.
But there was going to be a platoon at third base.
Yeah.
And there still might be, but I'll take my chances with Nick York over Jared Triolo.
Oh,
I said before the season started, Triolo's the worst shortstop in baseball. And the Pirates realized that a weekend and did this deal with Griffin. But we saw, slowly but surely, Triolo working his way over to third. And honestly, I mean, he's a great fielder. Gonzalez is a better hitter. He's a more clutch hitter. It's just more timely with what he does. You can't keep pushing that guy aside. And I'm not saying he's the greatest third baseman in the league or the division, but he's the best third baseman they have. And you've got to get the bat out there somewhere. When you've got the DH tied up with an old has-been who's hitting under 100, then you don't have a lot of room to put some of these guys. I'd like to see York get more at-bats. I really would. I'd like to see Gonzalez get more at-bats, and I'm fine with a platoon there if that's what you're going to do. But you weren't going to do that with Triolo. Triolo was slowly going to overtake that position, and you're going to have an under 200 hitter who might be the best fielder in the league over there, but still, you're not going to win games with that. You've got to win games hitting. Gonzalez is the better hitter. I'm glad to see him in the lineup more often. Honestly, I'm glad to see Cruz hitting. Only 16 strikeouts in 48 at-bats. That's pretty impressive for him. He's hitting close to 300. What is he, 292 at this point? Yeah. Leads the team with 4 home runs, leads the team with 12 RBIs. That's what he's supposed to be doing. If only there was a place to put him that didn't involve the field whenever they're on defense. But outside of that, I mean, if this can keep up even somewhat consistently, if he could bat 250 and provide some sort of pop off the bat, that's a huge win with O'Neal Cruz because we're all expecting under 200, over 200 strikeouts. That's what we're expecting. Jake Mangum, I like him for late innings. I don't necessarily like him as a starter. He came up with this idea for this cone that they drag around. Now I hear people are stealing cones all over the area because they want to take them down to PNC Park and pretend like they're one of the Pirates.
Oh, wonderful.
It's a cool idea. Maybe not as cool as the Zoltan Z, but they wear the cone and carry the cone if they knock in runs.
Raise it.
Whatever. Yeah, raise it. Brian Reynolds has hit a couple home runs, still hitting 244, so we're waiting to see whether or not he can break out of whatever he was in the last couple of years. Horwitz has started to hit a little bit. He was down under 100. Now he's hitting 233. Not going to be a power guy. It's not going to happen. But if he can at least be productive, Henry Davis is over 200. Like, you start going through and looking at some of these guys, it's like, okay, it's not great, but it's better than what we thought it was going to be. And I think when you look at 7-5 and you start thinking maybe they can take a series from the Chicago Cubs, these are the people that you're looking at to sort of lead the way. Marcell Ozuna does not belong right now in Major League Baseball. They won't send him down. He'll be there. He'll be there unless they can trade him at some point. And maybe he'll start to figure some stuff out and maybe he'll come out of it. But right now, he's the albatross around the neck of this team. And when he does get in the lineup, usually he's batting fourth or fifth, which doesn't help either because you're sacrificing a lot of runs with his strikeouts. So, yeah, there are issues. Not the entire offseason was not productive. Lau is in a huge slump right now. Think about where he was compared to where he is right now. So you've got that to deal with as well. But in the end, so far, so good. The Pirates better than what we thought at this point. Pitching, I mean, the rotation, I like it. It's 5 guys they drafted. I mean, that's what we've talked about for years. The homegrown talent, get them in there. At least we're not looking at Andrew Haney and, some of those guys that are out there trying to go out and resurrect a career that really never was that good in the first place. There's talk that Jared Jones might come back soon. I'll believe it when I see it. I just don't. They originally anticipated he was going to miss all of this year. Now they're saying, well, they put him on the 60-day, and that's going to be up the end of next month. We'll see. That'd be great. It'd be a huge shot in the arm if they could get him in there. Whose place does he take? Maybe Majinski. Barco is still there. Is he going to be a starter at some point before the end of the year? Some of those guys in the pen have struggled. Montgomery, he has great stuff. I just don't think he can put it together. Lawrence looks shaky coming off the injury from last year. But then Santana and Soto, and outside of the first game, Matson, they've been lights out. So it's sort of a mixed bag. It's up and down. But in the end, normally I'm on here talking horrendously about this team because they deserve it.
You've softened.
Well, no, they've deserved it, and I don't think they deserve it now. I try to always call it like it is, and I believe that I did that when the Analytiot was managing this team for the last 6 years. But now it seems to look a little more adult-like out there, and hopefully if these guys aren't doing what they're supposed to do, there's a little bit of punishment. We saw a little bit for O'Neal Cruz for some of the debacle that was that first game, and it looks like he's trying a little harder and getting a little better. I'll take that at this point.
Yeah.
But in the end, they're hanging in there.
Right.
We'll just see how long they can.
Right. There's effort there, and there are things that you like. Again, things you don't like. And, yeah, with O'Neal Cruz, he is what he is, I think. I mean, even with his what's the guy, the mentor? I guess that's
Marcell Ozuna.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's going to be things you see with him. He's going to show flash. He's going to hit it really hard. But it's usually going to be at someone, and then the outfield, the defense is just, it is what it is. So, yeah, so early, but, 7 wins after, 2 weeks? Not bad. We'll take it.
Now, in looking around just at some of the stat lines and some of the performances by teams so far in the early stages of Major League Baseball, the Milwaukee Brewers, one of the best teams, and of course they're in the Pirates division.
Right.
So that's not helping, and we hear a lot about Mizorowski, their young phenom pitcher, similar to what we hear about with Paul Skeens. But Aaron Ashby, there's a surprise. He's got 3 wins already.
Right.
In a couple of weeks' worth of baseball. Jose Soriano of the Angels also with 3 wins. So they lead their respective leagues in victories. The batting average leader in Major League Baseball, you know who it is?
I don't actually.
Well, I do because he's a Dodger.
Go ahead.
Because not all of us like the team closest to our house.
Right.
Andy Pius, a homegrown talent for the Dodgers, 413 he's hit in the first 3 weeks. He's been on absolute fire. And a kind of a mixed bag of guys. Xavier Edwards from Miami is hitting 396. Chandler Simpson from Tampa is hitting 391. These are not the big names.
No.
These are not the household
Not at
names.
all.
Taylor Ward, that won't last. Taylor Ward will be hitting 1-something by the end of the year. But Taylor Ward at 383, and then Wilyer Abreu from Boston at 383. So those are your hitting leaders. Home run leaders, well, Shea Langoliers, he had 3 in the first game, so clearly we knew he was going to be up there with 5. Tied with a few other guys, including American League Rookie of the Year candidate Chase DeLauder from Cleveland. So you can bring young guys up and they can perform. Last year's NL Rookie of the Year Drake Baldwin hits 5 home runs. So does Jordan Walker.
Oh.
former big-time prospect for St. Louis who's been left for dead the last few years, has come around. Eduardo Rodriguez, the ERA leader in Major League Baseball at 0, tied with Shohei Ohtani. Normally we think of him as a hitter.
Right, you do.
And Bryce Edler of Atlanta. So, yeah, it's interesting. You start going through and looking and mixing around with the stats and looking at the standings. It's early, and we know that, but I love baseball. Baseball's always been my favorite sport. It gets overtaken, though, by football most of the time. But you look, the Yankees are in first place. I mean, it's a lot of what I'm sure Major League Baseball wants to see. Cleveland once again showing that you can be a small market team and you can be competitive year after year. Andrew McCutchen's Texas Rangers, they're in first place at 7-5. The Miami Marlins are tied with the Braves at 8-5. They're both in first place. In the NL East, Milwaukee at 8-4, followed very closely at 8-5 by the Reds. The Reds, a team the Pirates beat up on, but a pretty good young team. And the Dodgers are 9-3 with the best record in baseball.
What else is new?
What else is new? Yes, and they buy and pay for their team.
Absolutely,
but
it's not fair.
At least they all work together well in cohesion as a team. Kyle Tucker, the new addition, not really doing a whole lot, but Pius steps up. So they'll find, whether it's homegrown talent or whether it's big-time free agents, they figure out a way. But a great, exciting start, I think, to Major League Baseball. I know it's always more fun in this area when the Pirates are competitive, so most years it's no fun. But this year I think it is, and I think it should be, and I think it could be. You talk about how many games do you think this team can win, and I had said before the season started, well, there's a different total I'm going to give with and without Connor Griffin. The total I gave with Griffin was in the 80s, and I think they can be there. Not high 80s, but I think they can be around that 500 mark, maybe even over 500, that magic number that everybody around here wants to see year in and year out. I'm telling you, he's that good. Not the greatest player in the history of Major League Baseball, not the greatest player of this era, but he's good enough to take this team that has marginal talent around him and the best pitcher in baseball, Paul Skeens. He's good enough to take this team over 500, maybe, we'll see how it goes, into the postseason.
Yeah, that'd be great, and that's asking a lot of a young guy like that. If he can, take this team single-handedly, I don't think. If he gets help, if Skeens is great at the pitching, steps up, if the bullpen, converts, saves and holds, if you will. So, yeah, it's asking a lot if he can do it all by himself, but, we haven't seen anything like this. It's great to see him locked up for basically the duration of his 20s, so. Yeah.
Pittsburgh Pirates right now 7-5, entering a very important early series this weekend in Chicago against the Cubs. This isn't make or break the season or anything like that, but I think it's important to show how competitive this team can be with the projected best teams in the league. And the Cubs right now are in last place in the Central. They're also 500, so that tells you the Central has played sort of over their heads at this point. You look at a team like St. Louis. There's a right down the road, J.J. Weatherholt, who was a star at West Virginia, who's their leadoff hitter right now. So you start going through and you look at these teams and you look at reasons why they are where they are. A lot of it points to good young players. The Reds are talking about Sal Stewart being potentially a Rookie of the Year candidate. And let's not forget Ellie De La Cruz. Yeah. You look at Milwaukee with Mizorowski. I mean, you start going through these teams. There are young players that are overperforming at this point, lacing all of these teams. This is a key. You need your big-time guys, but you also need to hit right on these young players. And honestly, we know the Pirates did with Skeens. We suspect they did with Chandler. And I have a really good feeling they have with Connor Griffin as well. So I think the sky's the limit right now. Like I said, Kelly's competent. He knows what he's doing. I trust him as manager of this team. I think if there's an opportunity here, they will jump on it and take it. I still don't like this pitch count thing, and I wonder who is pulling the strings on this. I suspect it might be Sherrington. 75 pitches for Keller after 6 innings. Let the guy pitch the seventh inning.
Exactly.
There's no reason not to do that in a tight game. He should have been out there, and instead it'll be second guessed all year. You bring in Justin Lawrence, he gets hit up. You bring in Urquidy, he gets hit up. I just don't think, and I've said this over and over again, I don't think the guy that comes in next is good enough to pull these starters after 75 pitches. They're just not. Some teams have guys that are really, really good at that role. I don't trust Yohan Ramirez, Mason Montgomery, Hunter Barco at this point, Justin Lawrence, Jose Urquidy. I do not trust those guys to come in. If you're going to pull him after 6, then put Matson in for the 7th, Soto for the 8th, and Santana for the 9th if it's a close game. That's what you got to do, because doing what you're doing, it's just not working. It's not the first time this year it's blown up in their face by making this decision. I don't like the 100 pitches either, but I can take 100 over 75. You get Keller through the 7th inning, and he goes scoreless there. Then you can go to Soto in the 8th and Santana in the 9th. But that inning is going to come back to haunt them, I think, more times than it's going to come back to help them if this is the decision that they're going to make.
Absolutely. And again, it's so early. You can, flesh out bad things you don't like. And again, they have a competent manager, and competency is basically all you're asking for, because you actually have people on this team, at least 2 of them, that you can have a future with. Well, maybe just one. I don't know. The Dodgers might have a future with Skeens more than the Buccos. But, yeah, I mean, it's so early you can flesh out things you don't like, and that's what you're doing right now. And you have a big division series on the road this weekend to show if you're, capable of maybe making a run, even though it's so early.
And hopefully we see Griffin start to come around a little bit, too, at the plate. He's done well everywhere else, but struggled a little bit, had that double on the first at bat.
It's such an adjustment.
Everybody automatically, there's Ohtani, too, right
That's
there.
Right.
It's too hard. You can't do that to the kid. He's a 19-year-old. There's nobody in the league this young. Like, give him a chance. He'll figure it out. Just give him a chance. He's figured it out everywhere else. He will figure it out here, too.
He will. Yeah, give him a few weeks, for goodness sakes. Yeah.
Yeah, at least wait till he turns 20.
Absolutely.
Let's get a couple weeks
Maybe
till he turns 20.
Again, to the bar legally.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's, I think, what people forget. Like, 2 years ago, this kid was in high school.
Right.
And now he's on the Pirates.
Absolutely. Seeing big league pitching, and that's a major adjustment, to say the least.
Right.
That's an understatement.
Right. Now he has to hit with wooden bats.
That's right, from aluminum to wood.
And he did. Like, you look at his numbers. Just go and look. If you're at all nervous about this, look at his numbers in Bradenton. He wasn't there long. Look at his numbers in Greensboro. Look at them in Altoona. And for a week, look at them in Indianapolis. He's hit almost 500 everywhere he's been. There's no reason to worry. He'll figure out the hitting. I'd be more concerned if he couldn't field or couldn't run. He can do all that stuff. This is a 5-tool athlete. Just give him a chance. Let him be the 5-tool athlete. And please, local hack media, get out of his face and just let him play baseball.
Well, that's their job, to get in his face and, make his job miserable and his life miserable. But again, give it time. Let it bake. We don't let anything bake anymore. Look at Sam Darnold, for goodness sake, Dave. Left for dead with the Jets because, well, they can't win anything with anyone. He goes to a competent organization, wins 14 games, and next year 14 in a Super Bowl. That's what Connor Griffin can do, maybe, for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
I think Griffin can do it without having to go to a competent organization.
Right.
He can do it in Pittsburgh, which, by the way, is not a competent
organization. He can turn them into a competent organization, maybe.
He can make you think they're a competent organization.
He's
they will still be incompetent.
He's the makeup you put on a pig.
That's it. He's that lipstick.
That's it.
That's
lipstick.
Exactly what he is.
Kissing your sister. That's when you finish at a tie, right?
Well, you can't do that anymore
No,
in
you
Major
can't
League
do that in
Baseball.
baseball.
No, because we got that fake runner out there
That's
now, so you
right.
don't have to worry about that. Let's take a break.
Runner.
When we come back, we will look at a few other stories that are of relevance and importance to what we do here on the Sports Voice. Don't know what they are yet. That's why I set it up that way. But it'll be fun and exciting. I can promise you that. Don't go away.
Spring is in full swing at Bogey's Restaurant and Sports Bar at the scenic Duck Hollow Golf Course. Stop by and celebrate their spring grand opening with daily food and drink specials you won't want to miss. Grab a drink, dig into some of Bogey's amazing food, and unwind with friends at Uniontown's newest hotspot. It's the perfect place to relax after a round of golf, enjoy a night out, or just catch up with friends. NASCAR fans, be sure to join us for Sunday races, all shown on one of Bogey's 8 TVs, making every race day exciting. With warmer days on the way, it's time to start planning for the 2026 golf season at Duck Hollow Golf Course. Visit duckhollowgc.com to sign up for the newsletter and stay up to date on upcoming events, leagues, and season updates. Bogies welcomes you at 374 Duck Hollow Road, Uniontown, or call 724-439-3150 for more information. Bogies Restaurant and Sports Bar, where good times are always on par. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor, a part of the Cinder Shack family of vendors where you can find both antique and new furniture, collectibles, housewares, gift items, including jewelry and candles, and so much more. Follow Zen's Antiques and Home Decor on Facebook for new items and information on upcoming events. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor in Building 2 at 3391 National Pike in Farmington. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor.
That sneeze was in a different zip code, and I still felt the germs.
Relax, Randy. I went to Montgomery Medical. I'm fully shielded.
Like a flu shot?
Flu, COVID, the works. If you haven't caught up on your shots yet, they'll get you sorted in minutes. It's basically a suit of armor, but with less clanking. Then do the double shot. After Montgomery Medical, head over to Renew You Medispa. I got their immunity IV drip.
A Medispa?
You relax, you hydrate, and you give your immune system a VIP upgrade.
Montgomery Medical, a family tradition of family medicine.
It's time to make your tax refund work for you at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. Now through April 30th, don't miss their Double Your Tax Refund event, where they'll match your refund up to $2,500 when you put it towards a new home. Find a home that fits your family, your style, and your future with the features you've been dreaming of. So what are you waiting for? Stop by Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon today at 4500 Route 51 and take advantage of this limited time offer. Some exclusions may apply.
WMBS.
Welcome back to the Sports Voice. So a lot of talk earlier about the NFL draft and where it's going to be held. And of course, we're just joking around. We know it's going to be held in Pittsburgh. They got the stage ready to roll right outside of Acrisure Stadium. And of course, you guys will all go down there and get drunk and be yelling Heinz Field. But it's ready, and we know they've basically gotten rid of anything that could potentially get in the way, whether it's trees or people or cars. It's going to be an expensive weekend. It's going to be a hectic weekend. I can only imagine what all is going to be happening there and what debauchery is going to come from it. But we're only a couple of weeks away. 2 weeks from today, we've got the NFL draft happening, and we'll be here. We'll be in Uniontown. We're not going to the North Shore to do the Sports Voice there. Just not happening. It's too chaotic and too crazy for that. But a lot of excitement, I'm sure, will come from it. One of the big stories, though, that came out today is going to be the absence of the first overall pick. And, you know, that's always a big deal. The first pick, I mean, there are guys that are sort of on the fringe that don't want to go there and sit and have the camera on them for 31 picks and then be embarrassed when they're not pick 32.
Roger,
and they've got to come back the next year. Who was just in recent time, who was the quarterback that...
Oh, there have been a few.
Why can't I think of who it was? They sat there and waited and didn't get
always
picked.
fun. It's
and then
always
had to come
sad.
back the second day and get
Yeah.
picked. But we always see that. Well, Aaron Rodgers at least got picked. It was just later than what
It
he
was
had
very
hoped
late.
it was going to be.
Hours late.
Right, he thought he might be first.
Yeah.
And, of course, you know, Alex Smith had to be the first pick that year, but he just waited and they just kept showing him, and he just... Oh, it was Will Levis. That's the guy I was
Will
thinking of.
Levis.
Yeah, that's a pull. I'm sure those teams are regretting not taking him in the first round.
Oh.
But, yeah, so you do have that potential heartbreak because you know everybody's been watching you for hours, and then you end up not getting picked. So Mendoza is going to be the first pick. We all know this, and even though they're going to pretend like they're not sure, we know that's who the Raiders are going to take. But yet he won't be there. So how do you kill time? Because that's really what it is in between these picks, is killing time. Because every team, even though they know who they're going to pick, are told by the NFL to wait because they've got vignettes, they've got videos, they've got interviews, they've got awkward handshakes. There's all sorts of things they're going to be showing in 15 minutes to keep you hooked to your TV, afraid to move that you're going to miss something, because this draft has turned into nothing more than a second-rate B-level TV show. That's what it is. It's utter nonsense. I can't stand it when it's over that I sit there and say, I actually watched this thing for like 3 straight hours. It'll be even longer this year because New England doesn't pick until 31st. So you then ask yourself, why? Is it because these guys agree to come? They dress them up in suits and parade them around like clowns. Is this why this draft takes forever? Because what ends at 1 a.m. should end at probably 9 p.m. That's about as much material as they have to do this. but there's a lot of craziness and chaos. And how upset do you think the NFL is right now, knowing that their marquee draft pick is not going to be there for the Dog and Pony Show?
Well, I'm sure they're very upset because, they're not used to being told no. So, I mean, they're the king. And, yeah, I'm sure Goodell's upset, but people are going to boo him. Maybe Mendoza didn't want to be booed. Maybe he's going to be booed at this. I don't know. You know what? Drunk Yinzers, they just boo. They're just very mean. They're salty, Dave.
Yeah, but are they going to get anywhere near that stage? Won't they have? They'll have plants in there from all 32 teams,
Right.
to have their jerseys on and to scream and yell and cheer whenever a defensive end rusher and a offensive guard are picked. You'll think it's the best possible pick that team could have made. Like, you're going to have all the plants. By the time you get all them in there, and you'll have your Steeler plants too, who's going to cheer whoever they pick. Is there room for the Yinzers?
Are they being priced out, you're saying?
I think
Yeah,
so.
They might be. I don't know. I hope so, because I need to see them out there. I mean, if I can't see a bunch of drunk Yinzers at this thing, why watch?
I mean, you could always go into the parking lot on opening day for the Pirates and
That's
see them
right.
there
That's
about
right.
3 innings into the game.
Same people.
Same people, but they're probably still there.
Right.
They probably haven't recovered. They're probably still passed out from last Thursday. But yeah, I mean, I did this talk a few weeks ago about how the draft is not for you, but you won't listen. You'll still go
No,
down
we'll
there,
go down.
and then you'll be angry and upset when you can't get into anything or do anything, or you're paying $500 to park at Rivers Casino, and then you got to drive back down there through all the traffic the next day as well. It's outpriced itself for the average fan. Honestly, the NFL has gotten to a point where they've pretty much outpriced themselves for the average fan. This is why the DOJ is probing their TV deals, because I think you're only on the tip of that iceberg too. That's going to come to a head where you're going to be paying fees for every game you watch in the NFL, because this one's going to be on this day on Netflix, and this one's going to be on this day on Amazon Prime, and this one's going to be on ESPN Plus, where you're going to have to buy that $30 monthly subscription. It's coming. It's only a matter of time. It's nice right now because you've got CBS and you've got Fox, but eventually you're going to have Paramount Plus. Everything's going to end up there because the networks are going to figure out we can get more money there because you're going to pay for the cable bill anyways, but now we're going to get that premium subscription from you too. It's only a matter of time. And I'm glad the DOJ is starting to look into it now before it turns into the NIL and it's way out of hand beyond the point where anybody can fix it.
Right, all this stuff needs regulation, and right, if the federal government wants to step in and help or attempt to help, why not? Go right ahead.
And the people will say
Can't be
that's
any
not
worse.
fair, you're ruining capitalism, but I think
Well,
the people who want to watch this stuff are angry because
They are.
now they've got to pay exorbitant amounts of money just to see it. Think about, I mean, you really want to go down and pay $500 to park?
No.
I mean, I'd do that. I mean, if I'm going to pay to go down to the draft, I would go park at the casino for $500 for the weekend and just be okay with it, because even if you're going to pay cheaper rates other places, you're going to be shuttled here and shuttled there. At least you can walk over from the casino. If you're going to spend the ridiculous prices down there anyways, might as well just spend $500 there and park and
Right.
at least have some convenience for the weekend.
Absolutely. It's all about making your life easier. So, yeah, absolutely. Go down, have fun, get an Iron City or a dozen, which that's going to be the more operative number. It's going to be a mess, Dave.
It's going to be a mess,
Mendoza's going one, and
but
it's
we're
lost
not
away.
going there.
We're not going.
No.
We'll have to wait for that first overall pick, even though we know it's been Mendoza for months.
If we want to go to the North Shore, we'll go in June when the trees have started to grow again and the Pirates are drawing about 10,000 people. That's when we'll go down there because we can do whatever we want
That's a good
if
night,
we go
10,000.
down there at that point.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking weekend.
Oh, that's right.
Weekday, 2,000, I don't know,
Oh, my
500.
God.
What was there on Tuesday?
Oh,
I know
my
it was
God.
cold. Everybody was
so
complaining about how
cold.
cold it was, but I mean, if
Oh.
you're a hardcore Pirate fan, does it really matter what the temperature
Yeah,
is?
shouldn't you go out, you know?
I mean, you go to a Steeler game when it's 0 degrees.
Oh, -5.
Why can't you go to a Pirate game when it's 50? I
Fair
mean,
weather fans.
I guess
Yeah.
that's what we see. So, yeah. But anyways, the NFL draft is upon us, only a couple of weeks away, and yes, we know it's in Pittsburgh. We are basically out of time for the first hour of the show, but not to fear, everyone. We've got a lot to talk about on hour 2. It's a hockey night in Pittsburgh or New Jersey or wherever it is. This could be the clincher for the Penguins. We'll also talk about maybe the final chapter of one of the greatest rivalries in sports. Is this the last year of Alexander Ovechkin? And will Crosby Ovechkin end? Back-to-back games coming up. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll look at Michigan winning the national championship. And a story I ran across when I was searching Google about our very own Nick Barczyk doing an interview with somebody who wasn't me about his Bucco bricks. So a lot coming in the second hour. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Feeling lucky? Your next big jackpot is waiting for you. Visit the casino at Nemacolin in Farmington, PA for the ultimate casino experience featuring the hottest table games, daily promotions, big-time giveaways, and an exciting variety of premium slots. And after, celebrate your big win with a juicy burger at the Royale while you watch the big game. Hotel packages available. Visit CasinoNemacolin.com for more information. The Casino at Nemacolin. Game on. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. The U.S., according to sources, will host talks between Israel and Lebanon next week as a fragile Iran ceasefire holds. The BBC's Hugo Bachega in Beirut, where the Lebanese health ministry says the death toll from yesterday's Israeli strikes has climbed to over 300 people.
We still don't know how this process is going to work. Israeli officials are suggesting that the attacks here are going to continue, so this could be part of what they usually describe as negotiations under fire. Now, if that's the case, this could be devastating and unacceptable for the Lebanese authorities.
With gas prices rising, businesses that offer delivery services are trying to come up with different ways to save money on fuel. Florist Rafael Delphin in El Paso, Texas, says he now groups his deliveries according to their destination within the city.
We route the orders, the east side or the west side. That way they're not zigzagging or going all over town.
Gas Buddy's Patrick DeHaan says drivers should expect volatility because it's very difficult to foresee what may happen beyond the next 48 hours. First Lady Melania Trump has made a statement about the Jeffrey Epstein case. CBS's Linda Kenyon explains.
The First Lady denies she had anything to do with the convicted child sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
I never been friends with Epstein.
Calling those who have said otherwise mean-spirited.
His images and stories are completely false.
Melania Trump also said it is time for the truth to come out.
Now is the time for Congress to act.
Starting, she said, with a public hearing.
Give these victims their opportunity to testify under oath.
Saying, quote, then and only then we will have the truth. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
NASA's Artemis II mission is scheduled for splashdown tomorrow evening after a historic mission around the moon. Orion is due to land 40 miles southwest of San Diego in a high-speed hot re-entry. NASA's Amit Kshatriya.
It's impossible to say you don't have irrational fears left, right? But I'd tell you I don't have any rational fears about what's going to happen. We've done the work we need to, and we have full confidence in the team, the recovery team, the flight control team, analysis of the work we did.
A new study links forever chemicals to childhood asthma. The study followed children who were born in a town in Sweden where firefighting foam contaminated the drinking water. Lead researcher Annalise Bloomberg at Sweden's Lund University.
They had a higher risk of asthma in childhood compared to children whose mothers never were exposed to this contaminated drinking water.
A Live Nation antitrust trial nears the end as the lawyer for 34 states labels the concerts giant a monopolist. This is CBS News.
What is going on?
What's going on here?
How is this possible?
Great storytelling starts here.
Oh, come on.
Why? It's time for 60 Minutes.
Take the fact book. Caring for an aging parent or a loved one with medical needs? Fact. Fayette Area Coordinated Transportation can help. Seniors 65 and older ride free on our fixed routes. People with disabilities get discounted shared rides. And if your loved one has medical assistance, their trips to doctors or treatment are covered under the shared ride program. Give them safe, reliable independence and yourself peace of mind. Call 724-628-RIDE or visit factbus.com. Fact. Your community, your connection.
In a busy household, everybody's online at once. Kids streaming, someone working from home, the whole house going full speed. Armstrong Fiber keeps up. Multiple users, multiple screens, zero slowdowns. This isn't a network built somewhere else and handed off. We engineer it, we install it, and we maintain it right here in our community. Because you're not a ticket number to us. You're a neighbor. Proudly local, fiber-powered. Armstrong, keeping you connected. Visit armstrongfiber.com.
Tomorrow at Buckingham Palace celebrates the 100th anniversary of the birth of the late Queen Elizabeth.
Happy birthday to you. The exhibition at the Palace King's Gallery is chock full of more than 300 items, from tiaras, turbans, and wedding necklaces to a silver lame bridesmaid dress Queen Elizabeth wore when she was 8 years old, and the peach dress and matching bloomers worn by a stunt double who parachuted into the 2012 Olympics.
I declare open the Games of London.
The exhibit is open until mid-October. Queen died in 2022 at the age of 96. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
U.S. applications for unemployment benefits rose last week. The number of Americans applying for jobless aid for the week ending April 4th jumped by 16,000 to 219,000 from the previous week's 203,000. Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
Hi, this is Dave Dunaway, and I'm here to remind you that Franco's Golf Center is open 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. Stop by and see Franco's facility on Route 21 west of Uniontown. Franco's service area includes a lighted driving range and golf pro shop. Even my game has improved thanks to golf lessons with Franco's PGA instructors. Franco's also offers full custom club fitting and repairs by certified club fitter Greg Franco. Franco's is open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Give Franco's a call at 724-438-6651.
The award-winning local, district, and statewide news is being brought to you by Ultimate Structures, offering customized sheds, cabins, and metal buildings. Ultimate Structures is ready to design what you desire. Call today, 724-415-0020.
And good afternoon, sunny and 75 degrees at 5:05 on a Thursday. I'm Nick Barczyk from the Davis & Davis Studios in Uniontown. Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law, voted Fayette County's best law firm 2025. Your local station, WMBS, and much more on the Weather Watch and sports in just a bit. Hundreds of DUI arrests were made over Easter weekend in Pennsylvania, many of them in our region. From April 3rd through the 5th, state police responded to over 530 vehicle accidents, 532 to be exact. 6 of those were deadly and 42 were caused by impaired driving. 2 of the deadly accidents were DUI related. 286 individuals were arrested for DUI. Thousands of citations were issued for speeding, failing to wear a seatbelt, and for not securing youth in safety seats. Pennsylvania is being ranked as one of the best states for children's health care. That's according to a new study by WalletHub, which ranked the quality of health care among children in each state based off many factors like access to health care, nutrition, physical activity levels, obesity rankings, and oral health access. The Keystone State was ranked as the 7th best state for children's health care. Mississippi the worst, and Massachusetts the best in that category. The Diocese of Greensburg in Westmoreland County is announcing it's taking part in an international prayer vigil Saturday from 11 a.m. to noon at the Blessed Sacrament Cathedral in Greensburg. The event is all part of a worldwide call for prayer in the Catholic Church and is going to coincide with a vigil led by Pope Leo XIV in Rome. The vigil is intended to express solidarity with the Pope and the global Catholic faith. And now it is tax time, and the IRS has some new forms that deal with cryptocurrency. Jack Crumley has the latest this afternoon on that.
A growing number of Americans are getting into the cryptocurrency world and need to be ready for tax season. Principal tax research analyst Carl Breedlove with H&R Block.
The IRS treats the sale and exchange of cryptocurrency in the same way as it treats the sale and exchange of any other piece of property. Think of stock trading or selling any other piece of property that you have. If you sell it for more than you bought it for, generally you have a gain, and that gain is usually taxed.
Breedlove says this tax season, the IRS is implementing Form 1099-DA, a mandatory reporting form for digital assets, but it won't detail gains and losses.
So in order for folks to determine whether they have a gain or loss, they're going to have to rely on their own record. Platforms do a good job of having these things set up where you could go into your account and you could see what you paid for things, and you can compare what you received as, proceeds from the sale, and then you can subtract out your basis to determine if you had a gain or a loss.
Taxes are due April 15th at midnight.
More next on WMPS.
So what's the difference between the sheds I see in the parking lot of the big box stores and a professionally built and installed JDM structure shed from Ultimate Structures? Good question. First, the manufacturer, JDM Structures, is one of the premier shed builders in business for 34 years. They use composite materials for the exterior with baked-on paint. This ensures you'll have an extended lifespan for your shed. And listen to this. 75% of Ultimate Structures orders are personally designed to satisfy the customer's needs. That's right. And the turnaround time for a custom designed shed is no longer than just buying a stock shed. Compare the roof designs, the superior piano door hinges, the quality of the wall panels, and personal customer service. You'll see. Come to the Mega Lot on Route 51 South, just outside Perryopolis. You need a shed? We can help. We design what you desire. Ultimate Structures.
In sports, we have hockey for you this evening. Penguins taking on the Devils in New Jersey. Face off at 7, on the air at 6 on WMBS. In baseball, your Pittsburgh Pirates off today. Take on the Cubs at Wrigley Friday afternoon. We'll bring you their game on Sunday. Our next broadcast of Bucco Baseball on WMBS. And now the weather watch for all of southwest Pennsylvania right now. Fair conditions, 75 degrees. That was the high today. Overnight low at 53, 79 for Friday with sun. The overnight low down to 44, up to 64 on Saturday with the overnight low at 44, warming back up to 82 Sunday with clouds and sun. Overnight low 67, 72 with the threat of rain on Monday, Tuesday at 83, and Wednesday at 87. Right now sunny and 75 degrees at 5:11 on this Thursday. And a good afternoon from the Davis & Davis studios in Uniontown at WMBS. I'm Nick Barczyk. On the way next, it is the stock update from Jenny Montgomery Scott in the second hour of the Sports Voice with Dave Dunaway on WMBS. Good evening.
The local district and statewide news was brought to you by Ultimate Structures, just outside of Perryopolis on Route 51 southbound. Call them today at 724-415-0020 to find the shed, cabin, or metal building that meets your needs.
Good evening. This is Mike Gutierrez of Janney Montgomery Scott here in Uniontown, bringing you today's closing stock market report. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 1,325.5 points, closing at 47,910. The NASDAQ Composite was up 617.1 points, closing at 22,635. And the S&P 500 index was up 157 points, closing at 6,774. Among companies of local interest, Apple $258.90, up $5.40. Amazon $221.25, up $7.48. Cisco $83.70, up $3.02. Boeing $217.81, up $7.81. Caterpillar $771.50, up $47.06. Disney $99.18, up $3.40. ExxonMobil $156.21, down $7.70. First Energy $51.40, up 40 cents. Johnson & Johnson $241.29, up $2.88. Home Depot $336.17, up $17.40. Intel $58.95, up $6.04. McDonald's $307.08, up $2.23. Meta Platform $612.42, up $37.37. PNC Financial $220.82, up $6.90. Raytheon Technologies $203.46, up $5.54. Rockwell Automation $390.12, up $20.75. Tesla $243.25, down $3.40. Verizon $48.03, down 59 cents. And Walmart $127.26, up $4.77. Recapping, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 1,325.5 points, closing at 47,910. The NASDAQ Composite was up 617.1 points, closing at 22,635. And the S&P 500 index was up 159.6 points, closing at 6,776. From the Uniontown office of Janney Montgomery Scott, LLC, member FINRA, NYSE, SIPC, where we serve all of your investment needs. This is Mike Today.
The heat is on at Live Casino. Think you can take it? Then catch the $18,888 Baccarat Fire Drawings. Play Baccarat daily to earn entries. Every Monday in April, we'll draw 18 winners to score a share of $18,888 in prizes. But that's not all. Every winner will be entered into our exclusive Lucky Fire cash drawing on Monday, April 27th. Take a seat. Feel the heat at Live Casino, Route 30 at Westmoreland Mall. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It's time to make your tax refund work for you at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. Now through April 30th, don't miss their Double Your Tax Refund event, where they'll match your refund up to $2,500 when you put it towards a new home. Find a home that fits your family, your style, and your future with the features you've been dreaming of. So what are you waiting for? Stop by Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon today at 4500 Route 51 and take advantage of this limited time offer. Some exclusions may apply.
Bright Stripe, Bay County's premier asphalt seal coating professionals, locally owned by Matt and Lexi George. Bright Stripe specializes in residential and commercial asphalt seal coating, also excelling in line striping and layouts, thermoplastic, and infrared asphalt repair. Bright Stripe has succeeded due to their commitment to quality work for 30 years. Bright Stripe, 724-437-6090, or visit bright-stripe.com. BRITE-stripe.com.
Your local station, 590 WMBS. I hear voices in my head.
Welcome to part 2 of the Sports Voice. Ahead on this hour, it's a hockey night in Pittsburgh, actually in New Jersey. But the Pittsburgh Penguins are very, very close, everyone, to wrapping up a playoff berth, a berth that probably at the beginning of the season nobody thought was coming. But here we are, one of the best teams in hockey, 40, 22, and 16, 96 points. Should be good enough when all is said and done for second place in the Metro, but there are still games left to be played. There are 4 of them left, and the Pittsburgh Penguins have to win, maybe not all of them, but 3 of them to guarantee that number 2 spot. Because there are teams chasing, there are teams close. First and foremost right now, the Philadelphia Flyers, who are only 4 points behind the Penguins, coming out of nowhere. Are the Penguins a better team than the Flyers? Yes. Does that mean anything in the playoffs? Probably not. But we will hope that somehow, some way, the Penguins can secure this number 2 spot and maybe get a first round win over whomever it is that they play in the postseason. And I know you can sit there and say, well, they haven't even clinched anything yet. I know. I get it. But they're playing the Devils. They've got 2 games with the Capitals. I like their chances at this point. Plus, Columbus plays Buffalo tonight. The Islanders play Toronto. I mean, that can be a shaky game as well. Philly plays Detroit, another team fighting for a wild card spot in the Detroit Red Wings. The Penguins have the easiest of the games against the teams that they are in contention with here. So we'll see. They win tonight, they're in. So a lot to talk about with the Penguins and what the roster is going to look like and what the lines are going to look like as they move into these final 4 games, eagerly anticipating a playoff berth. In addition to that, we've got a national champion in both men's and women's college basketball. We'll talk about Michigan and UCLA and the path that they took. Maybe not as exciting in those final 4 games, but definitely the national championship. Some excitement there and maybe some predictability. No one really thought UConn was still going to be around when we got to the finals. Everyone thought it was going to be Duke, and it wasn't. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then, of course, the huge blow-up between Gino Auriemma on Don Staley after their Final Four loss to South Carolina. So we'll get into some of that as well. Probably a lot more to talk about with the women than the men. But, of course, people accusing Michigan of buying this national championship. But in today's day and age of the NIL, isn't that what you're supposed to do? I don't begrudge anything Michigan did. They had the money, they spent it, and they got a national championship out of it. I think all is fair in all of that. Everyone has these same opportunities when it comes to this. And, of course, a tradition, unlike any other, the Masters has begun. I've got to figure out why the scores are so high. Normally, we've got about 30, 40, 50 people under par, 20 last I checked. So we'll look into what's taking place in Augusta. We'll tell you where Scotty Scheffler is and some of the other big names. Of course, we can very easily tell you where Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson are. To make it simple, not there. Which to me makes it must-see TV. especially without Phil there, because they chronicle every one of his shots. The only good news with Phil, at least in recent time, is you only got to watch that for 2 rounds, then he's on his way home. And Tiger Woods, I guess there wasn't a simulator close enough for him to be able to do this, but in the end, he's left the country, as far as we know, to escape the public eye after his yet another DUI. But good news from Augusta, Scotty Scheffler has yet to be arrested, and we're almost through Thursday, so that's definitely good news there. In addition to all of that, Nick Barczyk is here to give you his NBA and WNBA roundups. We've become accustomed to that this time of the year on the show. And a little interesting story that I found, I was searching Google earlier this week to figure out where the NFL draft was, and instead I stumbled upon a story about our very own Nick Barczyk and his Bucko Bricks that apparently was done through one of the local outlets, not WMBS and not me. I thought I was going to get the exclusive interview on these Bucko Bricks, but I'll read a little excerpt from the interview that he did. Once again, a little disappointed that he didn't tell me about this, that I had to go find it myself on the internet. But hey, that's what the internet's for, to search and find stuff. So a little tidbit from the Nick Barczyk Bucko Bricks interview. That's amazing, because there were so many people that had purchased these Bucko Bricks. I can't believe they got you.
They stumbled on me.
But apparently you may have crossed the line over in Reserve Township, from what I heard, and that's why you were the subject of this interview. So
I'm banned from Reserve Township.
don't want to spoil it now. We'll save that for later so that you can know exactly what Nick did. And, of course, some of our stories from the first hour, Connor Griffin officially signing the 9-year, $140 million contract yesterday, which will keep him in black and gold till he's pushing 30. And the DOJ opening a probe of the NFL over the TV deals, the very lucrative TV deals that they've signed with numerous providers, which is going to make you just a little bit poorer this season if you want to see all of the NFL games. And, of course, even bigger news than that, the projected, even though we know it's the guaranteed first overall pick in the draft, Fernando Mendoza, has announced that he will not be attending the draft in 2 weeks, which means they're going to need to kill 15 minutes of time in between the second pick. Who knows what we'll watch during that period of time. I hope we get to see a montage of all of the awkward handshakes Roger Goodell has done through the years with all of the first overall picks who actually showed up to the draft. But I love the fact he's not going. I don't think any of them should go. I think we should condense this from 5 hours to at least 2 hours. And I think keeping everybody away, well, probably not. They'll find some other way to fill time and kill time in between.
The NFL can make this 12 hours, 15 hours. I mean, it's all about commercials. So
yes,
they're never going to reduce it. If you're hoping for that, don't hold your breath.
They could honestly show a picture of a blank wall, and you'll have audio with them announcing who the draft picks are. And I'll bet there's still probably 30 million people that sit there and watch it the entire time.
Oh, you're right.
Just like going to a Pirate game and watching bobbleheads on the field trying to play a game. People would go watch. They'd pay and buy a ticket to watch that.
Absolutely. If you have Iron City, they'll sit and watch anything.
Yeah, and fireworks after.
Fireworks. Yeah. Zambelli. Got to be Zambelli.
What if they showed, instead of showing the draft, they just showed a bunch of fireworks for 5 hours? And they had the audio feed so you knew who was getting picked.
I think that'd be great. That'd be beautiful. I'd have a tear in my eye.
I mean, 6 years ago, people listened to it on the radio when you and I did it.
That's right, and we got everything right. We were so accurate.
We were great. I think we were just about as accurate as Mel Kiper.
That's right.
We got the first pick,
Joe
for sure.
Burrow.
Yes,
Burrow.
maybe a couple of others sprinkled in there as well.
Yeah, that looks
It's
good.
hard to predict the trades, though. You just don't know if and when that's coming. So we'll try in a couple of weeks to pick our first round, and we'll probably be way off just like normal when we do it. All that being said, our big story for the second hour is the Pittsburgh Penguins. And you know, I could probably ask anybody out there, and you're all going to say the same thing. This is a surprise. Nobody thought the Penguins were going to be 40, 22, and 16. Nobody thought they were going to have 96 points. Nobody thought they were going to be in second place in the Metro. They were projected when the season started to be one of the 5 worst teams in the NHL based on the assembly of that roster. And what we got instead was a return to traditional hockey by head coach Dan Muse. Sidney Crosby at 38, continuing to look like he's in his 20s. Evgeny Malkin, looking like he's in his early 30s instead of his late 30s. Erik Karlsson looking like an award winner out there again. This is a guy that has been the best defenseman in the league twice. He's got 2 Norris trophies, and he's out there looking like he could win another. We've got Ben Kindle, a person that even I said was probably a reach at the 11th pick, making it on this team and contributing to this team all year long. We've got guys that were picked up off the scrap heap like Anthony Mantha, Igor Chinikov, and now Elmer Soderblom, who have been major contributors to this team. You've got the best fourth line in the NHL that not only goes out there and hits and back checks, but actually scores, which is something you just didn't see even in the Stanley Cup era. You didn't see this. And you see Raquel and Rust and all of these guys really contributing to what's taking place out there on the ice. It's above expectations, way above expectations. They went all in months ago and said, yeah, we can go into the playoffs and make some noise here. And that's exactly what we're seeing. And now you can wrap it up tonight against the Devils, a team that was projected to be much better at the beginning of the year, but is underachieved. Not for any reason a guy like Jack Hughes, who has 72 points in 58 games. This is a guy that is Mr. Olympian, the golden goal. And he's performed when many others haven't. And you start looking, you've got another former first overall pick in Nico Hischier. You've got Jesper Bratt. You've got guys that have been around for a while in this league and have performed in this league, and it just didn't work out. They actually fired their GM, former Penguin GM / I think coach in the Stanley Cup win, Tommy Fitzgerald. I mean, this is a team that's going to push the rebuild right now, and the Penguins are talking, I don't know, are we going to do this next year? Are we going to bring Malkin back? Are we going to give Mantha a contract? Like, there's a lot of discussion that's taking place right now with the Pittsburgh Penguins. I think they are they're in a good position to go into the playoffs and actually win. They're not in a great position because of the goaltending, and I've stressed this time and time again. Whenever this run ends, wherever it is, however it happens, the first thing out of everybody's mouth is going to have something to do with goaltending, and they had the opportunity. They had the opportunity months ago. They chose not to do it. They actually had Murashov up for the last couple of days because apparently Skinner got hit with a puck while he was sitting on the bench in the last game. But he's back down. They sent him back down. Skinner's okay. He's going to be in net tonight against New Jersey. And nothing against Skinner and nothing against Shelovs. I think they've done well in their own right, definitely better than anybody would have thought they were going to. But they're not the best goaltender in the organization. And to have him at Wilkes just racking up win after win, it makes no sense. It's like having Connor Griffin in Indianapolis all year betting 700. It just doesn't make sense. This guy's ready to come up. He's the best goaltender you have. You're going to a playoff berth potentially that you didn't expect. How do you not have this guy on the roster? But I know why. It was stubbornness. It was we made the decision. We're sticking to the decision no matter what happens. But I think wherever this ends, the first thing people are going to talk about is goaltending being subpar, and it was an easy fix that they chose not to address. So in the end, everything else I have to say about the Penguins I think is extremely positive. There's nothing. I can't imagine anyone even looking and finding something negative about Sidney Crosby. No. Malkin's played over his head all year. Letang has been a little shaky, but Karlsson has stepped up and picked up that slack. Ryan Shea has been just a phenomenal stay-at-home defenseman. I mean, you can look all over this team, and you can find a success story. Chinikov and Soderblom. I mean, these guys were doing nothing in Columbus and Detroit, and now they've become major contributors to what's going on here. And Mantha coming off the surgery looks like one of the best goal scorers in the league, over 30 goals for Anthony Mantha. So, yeah, I mean, they're definitely in rarefied air. No one thought they were going to be where they are. I guess the question then comes, I don't think we have to talk about can they make the playoffs. We know they're going to make it. They're going to play the third seed in the Metro if they're the 2, which is likely going to be Philadelphia at this point. Nick, they can't lose to Philadelphia.
No, absolutely not.
Are they going to win this
series?
series?
Ruin the season. Yeah, I mean, after they overachieved, obviously, nobody expected them to be here. Now they're going to make the playoffs. But they can't lose to Philly. You're right. So, yeah, all hands on deck. You cannot lose to your arch rival, your cross-state rival. And, you got to win a series. It's been, 3 years now since they've won a series? I
Yeah.
mean, it's starting to add up. So and that's
No,
happened
it's
a
been
lot.
longer than that. It's been 3 years since they've been to the playoffs.
That's right.
It's
That's
been
right.
much
It's been
longer.
since they won there.
It's been a while since they've
Right.
won a series.
Right.
Could have even, I think the year after they won the second Stanley Cup was the last time they won a series in the playoffs.
That long ago.
It's
Wow,
been that
my
long.
goodness.
Yeah, so it's not, no, this is not something that's happened in recent time. And this rivalry with Philadelphia, this is bitter.
Yeah.
This is not an invented rivalry where we try to take a couple random teams and put them together like the Pirates and the Tigers
Right.
and say, oh, hey, these are rivals. They're not rivals.
No.
This is a rivalry, and it's bitter. You don't see that, like even with the Steelers and the Eagles, you don't see anything like this. Certainly not Pirates-Phillies. The most heated rivalry in state is definitely the Penguins and the Flyers. These teams hate each other. Remember, Cutter Gauthier, one of the better young players in hockey, has over 30 goals with Anaheim, was drafted by Philadelphia and refused to play for them because he said, hey, I grew up a Penguin fan. Like, I'm not playing for this
That's
team.
great.
And they ended
That's
up having
beautiful.
to trade him,
Right.
and they ended up trading him to Anaheim because he would not sign with them. I'm sure there was some money involved in that as well, but that was the story that went out. It was all about the rivalry here. You look at Steelers and Ravens, and that's probably a bigger rivalry than this.
Right.
But if you're looking in-state, this is the biggest in-state rivalry we've got in the state of Pennsylvania. And
Penn State.
certainly not Pitt-Penn State.
No.
But if Philadelphia loses, it's no big deal probably because, well, we weren't really supposed to be here. And we know the Penguins aren't really supposed to be there either, but they're going to have the better record. They're going to have more points. You don't want to get upset by the other team in the state in this
No.
series.
No, you really want to win this one. And, the clock's ticking down on Sid and the rest of the old guys. So, yeah, you want to beat the Flyers. You want to win any playoff series, but to beat your arch rival, that's even more satisfying, obviously.
I think if you ask people who are you hoping for, they're probably saying Columbus.
Right.
Columbus looks like the biggest pushover of the three. The Islanders, there's so much history there. So much has been cost to the Penguins from series against the Islanders through the years, and they don't match up with them well even this year. I mean, Philadelphia, you look at them and you say, okay, yeah, we can probably beat them. They might be the worst assembled of the three, but it's that what if that I think really eats away at people within this area. So I think if you ask people, they're hoping for Columbus. Honestly, I'm hoping for Columbus. Columbus is younger and faster than the Penguins, but I don't think they have anywhere near the talent that the Penguins have. I don't think Philly does either. But Philly, they agitate. They're dirty. You start looking like, hey, what are they going to do to win, especially if it's a close game at the end? You look at a guy like Zegras, who I think is one of the best players in hockey right now, but he's also a major agitator. The Islanders, you've got Schaefer. There's a lot to look at. Plus, you got Sorokin. I don't think Philadelphia or Columbus can match up in the goaltending situation, but the Penguins have shaky goaltending. You can't give up 3 goals a game on average and think you're going to roll over someone in the playoffs. So it's going to be one of them. There's not a scenario in my head where the Penguins are out. They're in. I don't see a scenario where they're the 3. I think they're the 2. But it's just a matter of who is the opponent and can they get past them, because it certainly doesn't get any easier when you get past. You're playing a 1 seed on, one of these sides. But in the end, this is important. It's an important weekend. And of course, you've got this back-to-back with Washington, this home and home.
Yeah.
Are we going to see Crosby versus Ovechkin for the last time? Has that final chapter been almost written, and will it end? Ovechkin has not made an announcement for certain that he's going to retire. He said he's going to wait until the end of the year, but the fact that he's still leaving it open makes that speculation come into play. This is one of the biggest rivalries in sports. It's one of the biggest rivalries ever in hockey. Like, you look at Gretzky and Lemieux, but they didn't play each other as much as these two play each other. They played each other 4 times in the playoffs. The Penguins won 3 of those series. Washington won 1. And even more significant in those series, whichever team won that series, they also won the Stanley Cup that year. That's how important those series and that rivalry has been. The 2 best players in hockey for quite a while, Crosby maybe the best overall player, Ovechkin the best goal scorer. It's hard to believe. It seems like it was just 2006, 2005. These guys were just coming into the league.
Where do the years go, Dave?
And now it's almost over. Because when you look at Crosby, you don't think he's anywhere near retirement,
No, he
although he's
looks
38.
amazing. Yeah.
Looks great. But Ovechkin looks
Old.
He looks 10 years older than what he actually is.
Right.
So I don't know, Nick. I mean, there's a lot coming for the Penguins. Playoffs, who the opponent is, and maybe the end of an era. Crosby and Ovechkin.
Well, the NHL doesn't want it to end because they've been dining off that for years now. But
And they can't manufacture new stars.
yeah, it's been an amazing run, and they're both obviously, just not Hall of Famers, but a level above that. Just all-time greats, and it's been fun to watch them on the ice at the same, together over the years. It's been amazing.
And it's hard for the NHL to manufacture stars. They thought they had one in Connor McDavid, and they do. He's a star, but he doesn't win.
No.
So it's hard to promote him. You've got Macklin Celebrini on the West Coast, maybe the best young player right now in hockey, but you can't promote him because he plays for San Jose. They don't even know if they're going to be in the playoffs. It's kind of like a skiing situation. You got the best pitcher in baseball, and when it comes time to showcase, he's nowhere to be found because the team he's on is so bad. So you have guys. You have Nathan McKinnon and Kel McCarr in Colorado, but it's Colorado. So, yeah, you'll see him in the playoffs, but most people don't watch them all year. I mean, that's what you're running into with the NHL. Crosby and Ovechkin was easy. You could tell they didn't like each other. The people in Pittsburgh hated Ovechkin. The people in Washington hated Crosby.
It wasn't manufactured. It was
No,
real.
it was real.
authentic.
It was real. Now, they've softened on each other since.
Right,
They've
they
actually
both
become
won.
pretty good
They've
friends.
gotten older.
Yes, as they've gotten older and younger players have sort of come into the league, that's kind of hit the back burner a little bit. But in the end, it was great for hockey. And if you lived in Washington or you lived in Pittsburgh, it was equally as great for you because hockey is regional and you watch mostly the local teams and you got to see both of them from rookie to prime to now the tail end of their careers. And it's just hard to imagine that after this weekend, it might all be over, but it just might. And, there's still that question mark on Crosby. Does he come back? Does he come back to Pittsburgh? I mean, that contract is expiring as well. We just assume he's never going to leave. We assume he'll be there forever. We assume he'll be 50 like Gordie Howe and still out there playing, but I don't imagine it. I think probably he'll still be in great shape, probably better shape than half the league when he turns 50. But that doesn't mean he's still going to want the daily grind of playing hockey. So it's coming. Washington might face it first with Ovechkin. Pittsburgh might have a similar story with Malkin. We don't know whether or not they're going to extend that olive branch contract to him. He wants 2 years. I certainly wouldn't do that. Maybe give him 1 based on how he's performed this year. And then there's that wild card. There's Sidney Crosby. How much longer does he play? How much longer does he play in Pittsburgh? Do those two coincide with each other when it's all said and done? Either way you look at it, it's an exciting time to be a hockey fan in Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh Penguins have exceeded everyone's expectations, including the scouts, the predictors, the broadcasters, you name it. Nobody had the Penguins here. This was not even on the bingo card, let alone something that someone predicted. The Penguins right now are 10 points out of first. We knew that was not happening. But they're 4 points ahead of third place Philly, 6 points ahead of fourth place Columbus, 7 points ahead of fifth place New York. All of those teams are still in contention. The others have already been eliminated. So in the end, there is opportunity. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Washington is actually tied with the Islanders.
Oh.
So there's still scenarios here that play into all of this. The only difference is Washington has played 79 games, so they only have 3 left. The Penguins are in the driver's seat with this. There's not a scenario that I see where Philly beats Pittsburgh, but if it happens, it's almost
devastating.
unforgivable. No matter
Right.
everything the Penguins have done this year will be forgotten because all that'll be talked about is they got upset in the first round of the playoffs by Philadelphia.
Right. You can appreciate the regular season, but it ends relatively quickly if you lose in the first round, the accolades. So, yeah, it'd be rough. It'd be really rough.
Nick, I don't know how much of this you listen to or even watch, but you've at least heard me just for the last several months just go on and on and on about how I think the goaltending situation here could be so much better than what it is. And I know that's a lot to put on a rookie. And I just talked about with Griffin, you got to give him time, you got to give him a chance. And now I'm looking at the 21-year-old Murashov, and I'm saying, hey, you got to get him in there. I mean, this is your opportunity. You're in the playoffs. You didn't think you were going to be there. It's the best goaltender you got in the system. I know what that can do to him because goaltending is so much about mentality. Look at what happened to Matt Murray. This guy comes in as a rookie and wins 2 Stanley Cups, and then after a death in the family and some other things, just kind of falls apart and was never the same. That can happen to this guy. I know you can put him in this important position. It could be against Philly. They could have the game in hand. He gives up a couple of soft goals late. Philadelphia ends up winning and wins the series. You could crush him from the very beginning. But if this is your future, I'd rather see what he can do in the playoffs now when it doesn't matter as much than to throw him in there first and foremost when everyone's expecting this team to go deep.
Right. And yeah, again, just win a series, just take it one game at a time, really, because you weren't expected to be here. And I mean, embrace it, enjoy it. Again, the ride is, not long for these veterans here. So, but yeah, it's been an unexpected season, and it's good to see them win. It really is.
It's definitely an exciting time to be a fan of hockey in the city of Pittsburgh. Tonight, the Penguins maybe can sew up a playoff berth. They are playing the New Jersey Devils in New Jersey. And as always, you can hear the game right here on WMBS.
As always.
As always. What, pregame 6?
Right.
Game starts
Face-off
at 7.
around
Puck drop probably 7:05 or something like
later
that.
than that.
I didn't look at the lines. I'm curious. I would assume the big thing with the lines is Chinakhov with Crosby, which has worked. But there's no Raquel. And Crosby likes that. He likes that comfort. He wants Rust and Raquel out there. So do the Penguins change this up? Do they change it up for Washington? Do they change it up for the playoffs? Do they change it up tonight? Do we keep Chinakhov with Crosby, or do we put Rust back? And if we take Chinakhov off that line, who centers the second line? Is it Tommy Novak, a guy that a lot of people have said has been maybe the most disappointing right now and maybe doesn't deserve a sweater? Do you still put him out there with Malkin and Chinakhov on the second line, keep Mantha and Brazo with Kindle? How do you work this at this point? So a lot of decisions. Lizotte might come back for the playoffs. We don't know. What does that do to Soderblom, who's played very well on that fourth line with Ashari and Dewar? I guess these are good problems to have, but they're definitely problems that people will second guess up one side and down the other if it ends badly for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, with the first-year coach and a new regime there, it's great to see. And obviously, when they were winning games early in the season, well, they're not going to be a lottery pick or a lottery team. They're too good for that. And then, well, we don't think they can win it all, but they can make it. So we'll see if they can win a first-round series. Don't lose the Flyers, though. That's devastating.
That's
Dave.
unforgivable.
Unforgivable. You'd
at
have to
this
leave
point.
the state. You couldn't show your face anymore.
Even though they were projected to be one of the worst teams in hockey,
They were.
it will still be
Yeah.
unforgivable if they
course.
lose to the Flyers in the
Philadelphia.
playoff.
It's the filthy Flyers. Have some standards.
Absolutely. Before we go to our first break here of the second hour, just a little recap from Augusta.
Ooh.
For those of you that don't know, the Masters is happening, the one major in golf that's played at the same course every year. So not only do you have guys playing sometimes into their 80s, but they know the course. It's like playing the same course every day your whole life. You hit it 50 yards away from the green, but it somehow bounces and rolls on there. These guys always seem to step up and perform. And then, of course, you get the new guys in that are learning it for the first time. Right now, currently, there are only 17 guys under par, which tells me it's a pretty good tournament because it looks like you're actually having to play well and earn whatever you have at this point. The leaders are both in the clubhouse at 5 under. Sam Burns, a kind of household name, and Rory McIlroy, the big name up there on the top of the leaderboard, the defending champion at Augusta. At 3 under, there are some guys who have already finished. Looks like the early scores were the better scores for this thing. Kurt Kitayama, Jason Day, that's a former major winner. Patrick Reed, everybody's favorite golfer. And still on the course, Justin Rose, the ageless wonder. He's 3 under through 14. We'll see where he ends up. And then at 2 under, Shane Lowry, Xander Schauffele, Gary Woodland, and Scotty Scheffler. So, you start looking. Scheffler's not far away. 3 right now, back at the time. There's a handful at 1 under. I mean, these are the names. These are the people that normally in the first round, the guys that shoot under par are the ones that are around all weekend. There are some tough holes there. There are some easy holes there. It's sort of a mixed bag. But, of course, we see our veterans, Freddie Couples, who's now over par. Angel Cabrera, guess he needed something to do to make money since he got out of jail. Jose Maria Olazabal, who won back in the early 90s. Mike Weir is in this thing.
Mike
So
Weir.
Vijay Singh, So a lot of the old timers that you thought didn't golf anymore, they come back and show up here. I remember, I think it was Billy Casper, who was 80 and ended up shooting his age.
Sam Snead.
Sam Snead. Well, that was the ceremonial. They have that
He hit
ceremonial
someone.
tee off. Yeah, he
Oh,
shanked it and
Sam.
hit somebody in the face.
Or
But in all fairness, he was like 90 when he did that,
Right,
and he
he shouldn't have
wasn't
been out of
still
the
an
house.
active player.
Yeah.
But yeah, the old guys come out of the woodwork for this
Well, they
thing.
come back for the dinner.
It's a tradition unlike any other. Yeah, McElroy got to pick the dinner. It's like fish and he had all
Something
elk.
Irish.
Yeah, there was
Elk,
all
oh,
sorts of stuff that he had.
venison.
Yeah, well, I
bison.
mean, yeah, well, he's from
Meat. He's a man.
right,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I'm sure a great dinner to be had. And of course, all the festivities, and they put that green coat on them when they're done. I know it's a jacket. They put that on.
Well, the
and they
best
play the
dinner-
music all weekend that we play here on the Franco's commercial.
The best dinner is back in the day after Tiger won his first one. Tiger Woods. He sat next.
Oh,
to,
be careful
he
with
sat
that.
next to Fuzzy
That
Zeller.
got Fuzzy Zeller
Yeah.
basically
Tiger-
removed.
Tiger
from
and Fuzzy
literally
Zeller were
anything.
hanging out at dinner.
Yes, that not quite
No.
based on that. But Tiger not at dinner this year, at least not there. He's somewhere in Sweden, trying to stay out of the public limelight. And Phil Mickelson apparently had that medical procedure to remove his second face. So regardless of why they're not there, they're not there. And what that ensures is at least we'll get to see the good players and what they do instead of watching every one of those 85 to 90 shots that Tiger and Phil make for the first 2 days
Right.
before they end up missing the cut. Although I'll take Tiger, but I'll sit there and watch Tiger before I'll sit there and watch Phil.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm much more okay with that because at least Tiger tells you what he is.
Right. And the
He-
sight of Phil makes you ill. I can understand.
Yes,
You seem to not
I
care
know
for him
that every
much.
time he smiles and his mouth opens, some lie's coming out, and most
Tiger
everybody's
will
going
lie,
to
but
believe it.
He's authentic about the lying, if that makes sense.
If Phil was authentic, I'd probably like him too because he is left-handed and was pretty good through his career.
He
but,
left-handed.
yeah, well, everybody likes because if
Oh,
you're a
yeah.
left-handed golfer like me, you're supposed to like the left-handed
Yeah,
golfers.
you, Lefty, Mickelson, Bubba Watson.
Bubba Watson's
That's about
left-handed.
it.
Yeah, there are a few. Brian Harmon,
That's
who
right.
had a really rough day, but a major winner from last year as well. So
Right.
there are a few of them. But yeah, so the Augusta Masters, a tradition unlike any other, still happening as we speak. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll look at college basketball. Nick will do his NBA and WNBA roundup, and I'll talk to you a little bit about this Google story that I uncovered on our very own Nick Barczyk. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hey, you looking for a quality pre-owned vehicle? Well, look no more, because with over 200 vehicles, Gary's Auto Sales is the largest used car dealer in the area. Whether you want a car, a truck, or an SUV, you'll absolutely find what you're looking for at Gary's. Gary's has been in business since 1974. You can visit them online at Gary'sAutoSales.com, or you can give them a call at 724-626-8080. Gary's Auto Sales. Many miles, many smiles.
Join WMBS Saturday mornings at 8:15 a.m. for the Master Gardener Show with Bert Sessler from Penn State's Master Gardener program. The weekly program will take you through the growing season, from planting your garden, preparing the soil, starting plants from seeds, through to the planting of vegetables, herbs, annuals, and perennials, to the fall harvest of vegetables. Our Master Gardener program is being brought to you each Saturday by Miller's Greenhouses and Flower Shop, Route 119, Smithfield.
Hi, this is Dave Dunaway, and I'm here to remind you that Franco's Golf Center is open 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. Stop by and see Franco's facility on Route 21 west of Uniontown. Franco's service area includes a lighted driving range and golf pro shop. Even my game has improved thanks to golf lessons with Franco's PGA instructors. Franco's also offers full custom club fitting and repairs by certified club fitter Greg Franco. Franco's is open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Give Franco's a call at 724-438-6651.
If you're ready for a dental makeover or in need of basic dental care, the office of Dr. Mark Rabatin is right for you. Dr. Rabatin uses the latest advancement in the industry to achieve comprehensive care that will preserve your smile for years to come by providing general dentistry services. Call today to schedule your appointment at their modern office, located in the Fayette Business Park, 724-437-4991, for the fine art of dentistry.
WMBS.
Welcome back to the Sports Voice. Normally, when we talk about teams buying championships, we're talking about the professionals. I mean, sometimes I guess in the past we talked about amateurs, but they at least tried to pretend like, nobody was giving Reggie Bush a free house. But when we look at it today, obviously we've got to talk a little differently because college athletes have now become professional. With the name, image, and likeness of the NIL, they are able to basically sell themselves for whatever anybody is willing to pay. And a lot of criticism was heaped on this year's national championship on the men's side, Michigan, because after they won, they were basically told by literally everyone, you bought this championship. But in reality, my answer to that would be, who cares? Because that's what everybody's trying to do. Do you think Arizona and UConn and Duke weren't trying to buy this same national championship? Michigan just ended up doing it better. They put a better team together, and when the time was most important, they were the team that stepped up. I'll give UConn a lot of credit. Nobody expected them to be in the championship game. Everybody thought that was going to be Duke, especially when Duke was up 21 on them with not a whole lot of time left in the second half. But UConn persevered. They found a way to come back. They beat upstart Illinois, and they end up in the finals against Michigan in a game we thought was going to be the biggest game of the year. Michigan-Arizona in the Final Four turned out to be an absolute blowout. UConn was much more competitive with Michigan, and in the end, and we probably could have said it various times throughout the season, and Nick, I think you'll agree, Michigan this year was the best team in college basketball. I don't care what they bought and paid for, they were the best, and at the end, they showed it.
Oh, absolutely. Michigan was great. They moved the ball very well. Linda Borg, Dusty May's great. I think it's a great program in the Big Ten, which dominated. I mean, UCLA basketball won in the women's side, Indiana in football, Michigan in basketball. So the Big Ten having a renaissance with NIL, and, good for them. Michigan's great. Football school, now they've won a basketball title, first one since the 80s. So they were the best team of the four left.
And we got to see the Fab Five there.
Absolutely.
And luckily they didn't let Chris Webber touch anything.
No, Webber did not. Coach Fisher yelled at him again. It was great. It's good to see them all back. Jalen Rose, C. Webb.
Now, I don't watch women's college basketball as much as you do, so I'm wondering whether or not this was a surprise. And I think probably the biggest surprise was Gino Auriemma, the longtime coach of UConn, just absolutely losing it. He's screaming at the officials. He's screaming at Dawn Staley, the coach of South Carolina. And, I mean, this is a guy that you always suspected under the surface, but always kept his professionalism. You just, and probably because he won all the time.
Yeah,
you just assumed, this guy's the consummate professional.
Never in a bad mood.
And yet, here you caught him in this moment where he just goes ballistic. And it prompts, obviously, a ton of criticism. Dawn Staley making some backhanded remarks. The embrace she had before the championship game with, and I can't remember her name, but the coach of UCLA. I'm sure you know it.
Absolutely. It's I'm sorry, I'll get this for you.
Well, they did hug each other just to sort of send a message. It's not John Wooden now. Maybe it's Jane Wooden.
It might be Jane.
Not sure. But anyways, was the championship game a surprise? Like when South Carolina
it was a rock
defeated, like UConn was undefeated. They were the best team in women's college basketball. So when South Carolina beat them, did everyone just assume South Carolina, because they still have a veteran team? They're 2 years away from winning a championship. But this UCLA team with the Betts sisters, mainly Lauren Betts, who might just be the best player right now in college basketball and probably should be the first pick in the WNBA draft. I'll let you talk about that when you do your roundup.
She's an XC squared.
But, yeah, I mean, she's just a dominant force out there. 5 seniors out there on the court for them. Yeah, I mean, UCLA, I don't know if they were the best team in college basketball, but they were definitely the last team standing when it was all said and done.
Absolutely, and good for them. And, yeah, everyone was saying how great UConn, the women were just going to never lose again under Gino. Well, they did. Then he blows up. He's not used to losing, so there's that. UCLA, I saw some of that title game Sunday, and they moved the ball really well. Good passing team, just like Michigan. On the men's side, they moved the ball very well, and that's what you need to do to win in March. Get on a run. The best team doesn't always win, though I think it did on the men's side. And maybe not the women's side, but one of the 3 or 4 best teams certainly wins it all.
So is Lauren Betts now the new first pick in the WNBA draft? Because they were talking AZ Fudd, especially if it was Dallas that had the pick, because isn't that where Paige Beckers is?
Yeah, look at you. My God.
I know a little bit.
You're actually listening to my WNBA round.
I do. I listen to what you say.
You're taking notes.
It makes a ton of sense. And then I try to remember it, yes, as we move forward. So, But yeah, there you have it. So that's what happened over the weekend in college basketball.
Right, it was a busy one. It was fun.
Congratulations to Michigan and UCLA, men's and women's national champions. All right, Nick, take a few minutes because I do want some time because I'm a little upset with you for not doing this interview with me. But take a little bit of time. Tell us what's happening in the NBA and WNBA right now.
Well, I had all the greatest interviewers go up to me. I mean, I had Larry King approach me, and I was fighting off everyone. So,
And of course, Nick's going to talk about this.
Sorry, Dave. Barbara Walters. Yeah, in the WNBA, well, let's get to the NBA first because there's a heated MVP race. Wemby's really good. Shai, that's SGA. Luka, but he's injured now, Luka.
He's out for the year,
He's
isn't
out
he?
for the year. The Lakers had such a great run. They were so good in March. The podcast host was finally becoming a good coach, but looks like they might be out. But they could just get Magic Johnson, LeBron James in the playoffs. They're about the same age, I think, at this point.
Now, I have to ask this because I'm sure everyone is devastated that Luka is out for the season.
He is.
But do they forget the Lakers have Bronny?
They do have Bronny.
So can't Bronny just step right in and score like 40, 50 a game too?
Well, I don't think water boys are eligible to play in the playoffs, so that could be an issue.
Okay.
But, if you need a towel or a Gatorade, he's there for
I
you.
mean, they drafted him. I assume he's really good.
Absolutely. It has nothing to do with who his father is. I don't even know who his dad is.
I can't believe people would suggest that.
Yeah, that's awful.
Yeah.
That played a role in this? Absolutely.
But no, I just assumed he was one of the best players in the league. So
He's up there.
should be fine. I'm totally fine.
He's no Giannis, but he's decent.
Are there any other siblings that could play on this team?
How about the Ball brothers? Are they
Let's
still
get them
around?
all. Let's get everybody.
LaMelo, Lonzo, LiAngelo.
Well, Lonzo was on the Lakers at one
Lonzo
point.
was on the Lakers
Yeah.
and then couldn't play, so they got rid of him.
WNBA, who's ahead in the standings there?
Oh, the season still hasn't started.
Oh,
They're working on a
still?
contract. They're working on a TV deal because they have the opposite issue of the NFL. Every network wants the NFL. It seems no network wants the WNBA.
Well,
I want it, but
It can be like hockey where a network can purchase it and then put it on their streaming site.
when they're not airing a Marvel movie
Or if there's no Marvel movies on the other channel,
or
yeah.
an old Adam Sandler movie, something like that.
Something like that.
Which I love to watch, especially when I'm, relaxing, if you know what I mean.
Well, I'm eagerly anticipating. I'll ask you again next. Hopefully by next week it starts.
I hope so. But there's so much going on. Baseball's in full swing. The NFL draft will be another week closer, which I can't. I'm so excited.
Well, good news. So in the past week, I did a lot of searching on the internet, which is very hard. You should watch me. I should actually film a video of myself trying to search the internet.
You Google something?
I
Grandpa?
Googled because I was trying to figure out where this NFL draft was, and I found out it's in Pittsburgh. That's why there's so much attention down there. But I also said, oh, this is cool. Let me start Googling. So I Googled Nick Barczyk.
Oh, dangerous.
And I get this story that comes up. There's a picture. I don't know where all this stuff came from. But apparently Nick did an interview with one of the locals, not me, not here, did it with one of the locals, and they were asking him questions about his Bucko brick. Now, we've talked time and time again about Nick as a little baby saving up money to purchase this brick, and they put it in the sidewalk outside of PNC Park, and then he goes and walks down there last year, and it's gone. And no one told him it was gone. He looks all over. He searches all over PNC Park. No sign of this brick. Gets word that potentially he might find it at some recycling plant in Reserve Township. So he goes there. And that's all he tells me. He goes there. He didn't tell me he climbed the fence to try to get in there because he thought he spotted his name. And that's kind of a felony. So, there's a lot that went to this. So apparently the locals found out about this and they interviewed him. So they asked Nick, tell us, what happened? So Nick, and I'm quoting here from this article, Nick says, I walked out of PNC Park expecting to see my Bucko brick where it belongs, and it was gone, vanished, stolen from the sidewalk like a common Yinzer crime. And, we know what those are like. That's like putting a picture of a vodka glass over the 21 at PNC Park. So, now still quoting Nick. Then somebody tells me they sent him to a recycling plant in Reserve Township. So naturally, I hopped the fence. Did security yell at me? Yes. Did I care? Absolutely not. I dug through 37 tons of rubble, 2 shopping carts, and what I believe was part of Three River Stadium. And then I saw it, my brick, covered in dust, scared alone. I picked it up, brushed it off, and said, Daddy's here. Now, I'm picturing Nick saying this, and I'm wondering, why didn't he do this interview with me? So, explain this to me. Why did they get this interview and I did not?
Well, Dave, you didn't give me an offer I couldn't refuse, unlike some of these other outlets. I mean, there were so many. I mean, I gave it to an old newspaper man because that industry is dying faster than radio.
Did they give you NIL money?
They did. They did. I got a stipend. I got a meal coupon. Yeah.
Well, whenever I do my interview about whatever, I'm doing it somewhere else. I'm not doing it with
I'm
you.
not co-writing your memoirs.
No, you're out. The fact that I could have asked you better questions than this. I didn't even know. There's a picture of Nick actually scaling the fence at this place in reserve. So I don't know how they got that. Apparently it was security footage or something.
Yeah, it was brutal.
So we'll try. If we can figure out how to get this stuff uploaded, we'll try to do it somehow through WMBS so you can see the picture and the interview with Nick Barczyk. With that being said, that's all the time we have for this week's edition of the Sports Voice. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We'll be back next Thursday, 4:15 to 6.
If you're ready for a dental makeover or in need of basic dental care, the office of Dr. Mark Rabatin is right for you. Dr. Rabatin uses the latest advancement in the industry to achieve comprehensive care that will preserve your smile for years to come by providing general dentistry services. Call today to schedule your appointment at their modern office, located in the Fayette Business Park, 724-437-4991, for the fine art of dentistry.
75 degrees now. It's Penguins and the Devils in New Jersey pregame right now on your local station.
To get you caught up on all things Penguins hockey, welcome in to the UPMC Penguins Live pregame show with Paul Steigerwald.
And the Penguins put on their Sunday best, and on Easter Sunday have risen above the Florida Panthers for the second straight day. A clean sweep against the reigning Stanley Cup champs. The Pittsburgh Penguins have their 40th win of the year and now 96 points on the season.
Motivation's at an all-time high, but also confidence is at high. It's not really, we're not playing with, I guess you can call it stupid motivation. We're playing with confidence. We're playing in our structure, and I think everything will take care of itself. But obviously, we know that another 2 points will clinch it, and we're going into a building that's tough to play in. They obviously got high-end skill.
Only one allowed by Dan Vladar, and it's another win. The 10th time in their last 11 road games.
The fact we're not in the playoffs is a whole other thing that we should feel not great about. So we have to combat that with finding a level of professionalism and pride in our game here to ride out these last 4 games. I think it's important that we all kind of go through the emotions that come with a disappointing, situation that we're in right now.
One man.